Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. I do hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 97, where I was very privileged to have Kyle Woolf on the podcast. He is a up and coming comedian. We had a nice long conversation, basically about how things have been for comedians for like throughout the like sort of lockdown period and how he sort of got into festivals as well. Yeah, there was much an interesting point we covered, and yeah, I'd like to say sit back, enjoy the show, and have a great day. Thank you very much, guys. Hey, peace. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. I do hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 97. Today, I am very privileged and happy to have on the podcast Kyle Woolf. He is
Hello.
Hello. He is a stand up comedian. He is a youth worker. And yes, he is a host of a podcast. Let me see, called, the one where.
That's
And
it.
there
That's
you
it. The
go.
one word. Dot, dot, dot. That's it.
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing really, really well. I feel really quite free actually because we've just been to, my dad just went to the dump. So we've taken a lot of the old things that we've just had stored up for years and years that no one has used, but said that they were going to throw away, but never did. And we just had a nice little, very cathartic clean out as well. And we've also got the painters and decorators in. That's not a euphemism, by the way. We've got actually doing my room up. So it's all very nice, very relaxed, very chilled out, and I think that's the best that you can hope for in these times. How are you? What are you saying at the moment?
Now, at this moment in time, everything's cool on my end. Well, employment wise, I need to seek that out, but that's another story. Yeah. But yeah, I'm preparing for the Paris Marathon, which is something like 167 days away. So yeah, my day, like my sort of week has been filled with, how can I put it, 10-mile runs, two 10-mile runs, then a break, then two 10-mile runs, then yeah.
So
So
how? I'm guessing you've had to like change your diet quite a bit for that, or
not so much. I haven't done that yet, but the whole thing is like right now for myself, because I'm more of a heavy set fella, just for the sort of working out I do. I need to sort of kick that up a gear. So right now it's about just getting miles in the legs. So I can't just sort of go, okay, yes, I'm going to run a marathon because no.
yeah.
Today was a particular day where everywhere I went seemed like I was running uphill, even when I
Oh
was
Jesus,
running
no.
downhill. It's like, so yeah. So that's been kind of me over the last few weeks. Yeah. So like, this is the thing. Like with this crazy topsy turvy year, like
Mm,
living in the world of stand up like comedy, right? Like this is the thing. Like being a long time watcher and listener of the Joe Rogan podcast, the one
yeah.
question what comes to mind is how have you been getting your reps in at this
Uh,
present time?
at this present time, I've been getting my reps in because by I'm currently the resident host of a comedy night in London. So even though I'm not always doing a set, when I buy also well up until very recently, where we've had to stop until November 19th, just so that things can settle down in the area that we kind of do the comedy night in.
Mm,
Well, I've been getting my reps in by hosting shows and just being comfortable by being in front of an audience, and that's kind of just helped with the improvisation kind of stuff.
mm,
So that's kind of it because comedy at the moment is there's very few nights in London that are still very few gigs in London that are still running, and there's lots of comedians on one spots. So I'll be going to like websites where you can book spots, and they'll say that there's like 5 spots available, and there's about 50 comedians from London who have applied for those spots.
yeah.
So it's very dense, and it's very like everyone's trying to get in everything that they can at the moment. But we're kind of thinking by about January things will have slow down. Well, slow down a little bit. And yeah, it's a really interesting time. I'm quite lucky though in the fact that I've got a job I do day to day, so I'm not out of pocket, which is really good. But my heart really goes out to the comedians who are doing it full time, like the semi-pro ones who have lost out on like thousands of pounds of work. And I know comedians who have had to do who've had to take up manual labor jobs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just it's just a very, very difficult time to be in the entertainment industry. But also at the same time, it's also weeded out the ones who are kind of doing it as a hobby, and from the ones who want to do it, well, who are looking to take it professionally, who are looking to take it semi-professionally, which is what I'm hoping to do at some point myself. But we shall see about whatever the new normal has for us, isn't it?
Well, yeah, indeed. Like zombie comedians or zombie players or whatever sort of craft that they are. It's like, yeah, I can imagine like before this, and you like it's one of those things. I think everyone knows when someone's like pushing to succeed, and when someone's just there to be there. And you can't really say anything to these people. And I'm not going to ask you to name names, but when you kind of like have something like this, clearing out that sort of deadwood must be somewhat relieving because it just clears out the noise, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I suppose it does. I mean, I'm one of those people who will say anyone can try it, whatever else. But this really it's kind of like, it is a bit like a fresh start, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, because I've seen a lot of really good promoters who've just really suffered because of the pandemic. But hopefully there'll be a silver lining in this really dark cloud at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. Like this is the thing. One of the things what interests me, what you said, with the like the number of spots which are available. There's like 5 spots and 50 comedians going for it. And like I think because of like when it comes to comedy and sort of comedy clubs and basically people on the come up, it's like you don't see anyone from the lower levels, then they're on TV here in the UK. That's how it kind of is, like you appear and you like they're there and now they're in the mainstream. So you don't see all of the years of work, what's gone behind that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been really nice for me because even though I'm not on that level yet, I've seen people who had started a couple of years before I did. So I'm in my 3rd year of doing it at the moment. I've known people now who've been doing it for a couple of years before me who are literally just starting to get TV work. So I've had people I'm friendly with who have just gone up, who've just done the new BBC stand-up show, which was on iPlayer. Like someone I know called Vlad Illich, he was on the part 5 of that, and someone who I've met before, with Tucson Douglas, is also on that show as well. So it is one of those things where you do, at my level, you do get to see like people progress. You do get to see people progress, and that's really good to see.
Yeah, like this is the thing. Like I know over in the States, they're like comedy, like they've kind of done with regards to the world of podcasts and everything like this. They've kind of done this sort of like quantum leap thing where it's like, okay, you are on the come up, but we need to make sure to get your name out there. Like, is there kind of like a little circuit of comedians which are doing that over here in the UK, or is it just, or is it something you can't talk about? It's like Fight Club.
It's not like something it's not something I can't talk about. I know that there are. I think that the best thing what I can say is I know that there are little pockets, especially in London, but because London is so big and the circuit is so wide in London, it is a lot harder to have a proper network, if that makes sense. Like Joe Rogan and his on that. I mean, and it's not to say that it's really cliquey or anything like that, but I think it's just because everyone's got their little groups, and within those little groups, people will help. Will help those people. What would really help is actually not even what would really help. I just think that's just how it is I think that's just how it is at the moment. And you know what? That's not a bad thing because people are looking out for each other still.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. I think like I'm speaking from a complete outsider in the world of sort of comedy and stuff like that. And I just like look at the sort of comedy landscape because as I say, I don't see the like early stages, I don't see the middle, I just see people who are like, yes. Like, it's like, yes, I'm now famous, like Chris Ramsey, for example. It's like nothing of that guy.
Just popped up, yeah.
And it was just, here I am.
I was the exact same kind of before I started because like I just see people on Live at the Apollo on the panel shows, which I no longer watch because I know how that I nap and I know the mechanics of how they're made. But you'd see a bunch of comedians for a very long time, and then there'll be like someone completely new just out of nowhere. So, oh, okay, and it would just seem like they're plucking them out of obscurity. But no, there's always at least 3 to 5 years of hard graft in the trenches, as it were, of the open mic club circuit.
Yeah. So like this is the thing. You know this. You get the idea. You've seen like the hard work, the pain, which is in front of yourself and like in front of others. So what basically made you take this journey on?
I was 27, 27, that's right. And I thought to myself, what have I done? Because I'm scared of heights and I've done abseiling and I've done, not bungee jumping, but like I've jumped off very, 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 very tall things. And I thought to myself, what would scare me the most? What can I do? What fear can I confront next? And I remember a conversation that I had in college with someone where it just we were watching like either Dave Chappelle or Russell Peters, and the person just turned to me and said, "Look, the scariest thing I can think of doing would be doing stand-up comedy and nobody laughing." So I thought at that moment I was like, "Okay, that's what I'm going to try and do. That's what I'm going to do next." So it was literally just what would scare me the most, and just going from there, really.
Okay, like, are you a little bit of a sadist? Dare I say that?
No, it's like I'm not. It's not a sadist. It's like it's more of an adrenaline not only an adrenaline junkie, but like it is just about conquering your fears. Really, that's all it really is, and just seeing that there's not really a lot to be afraid of, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It's like a case of you've got a character within you which is geared to overcome things.
Yes.
Like, yeah. And the bigger the thing, I'd imagine, the more sort of amped up you get to actually do it. And like this is the thing. I would say entertainment as well as like especially comedy. Woo. It's
either they can either really love you or they can really hate you, and that's really, really fun and interesting to find out, to experience.
Yeah, I can imagine you most probably learned a few things along the time of this. You've been in the game now for 3 years.
Yeah, I've learned. I'm not going to try and come off like I know everything, but I've definitely taken in a lot of things from speaking to older people who've been in it longer than me, people who are now headlining clubs, and just taking in a lot of some of the mistakes that people make, some of the mistakes that people are making as well. I started off like what got me into it was I did a comedy course, and I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, because I know that there's a lot of stick to do with people from people that didn't start with comedy courses to, against those who do start comedy courses, because I can completely see it. they think that it just produces the same type of comedian, and I can see that to an extent. But it's kind of what I needed to give me the kick up the backside, if that makes sense. So because what I did was, I knew at the end of the comedy course, at the end of the 6 weeks or however long it was, I knew that there would be a showcase where we had to put on a performance, and I didn't want my first performance to. I did not want to die on the stage at my first performance. So what I did was, the week after I started, I just started taking myself off to open mic nights and signing up and performing. So I've got my training wheels off before the showcase. So what happened was, when I told the person, Kate Smurthwaite, who was my comedy teacher at the time, she's a comedian on the circuit. I told her at the showcase that I've been doing gigs in between, ever since we started. She said, "Great, you're opening the show." And so I opened the showcase and did quite well.
Oh my Lord! Just like, there you go. Now,
yeah.
why?
Well, here's the thing. My first ever gig was on a Sunday afternoon in a room above a restaurant, no audience, just 3 comedians, and I still managed to get 3 laughs within my first ever 5 minutes. And I didn't tell them at first that I didn't tell them before I started that it was the first time.
Yeah.
I told them afterwards, and then they was like, "Wow, that was very brave of you to do that." And they were kind of just like, "Okay, this is what you need to do. This is a good website for you to go to book spots." And they kind of assured me, it's like, it's not always going to be like this. There are other gigs to go to, and that was kind of how it started.
Brilliant. I'm liking that. Like, I have to ask, like, this is the thing, like, everyone has expectations of what they will learn when they start something, what things they might pick up. But what has been the one thing which has really sort of surprised you?
Going to different places in England, gigging in different places in England, like places that you'd have never, that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And still managing to get most of the time a warm reception from people, even if they've never come across someone like me before. If you catch my drift,
I do catch. I catch your drift, and acknowledge it.
Yeah, and from my side of things, it's learning to not judge books by their cover, because end of the day, if you're out at comedy, generally you just want to laugh, and you're not there to promote any beliefs or whatever else. And that's one thing that I've definitely learned.
I see. No, I can imagine sort of trying to tailor your comedy to sort of different parts of the country, because it must be difficult, because London is London, and like Manchester, Birmingham, like pick a place.
Let me tell you something. Outside the M25, you may be surprised by this. They don't give a shit about the tube. They just don't care about the tube. I mean, I've never done any tube jokes myself, but I've seen comedians who are from London take their London-based material and try and do it elsewhere, and oh my gosh, it is painful to watch. But that is, you can. I've also learned that you can be London funny. That's pretty much it. You can be London funny, but you need to take everything outside. You need to kind of be accessible to people who are not from London.
Who was it? I was watching I can't remember. No, it was Joe Rogan episode with Jamie Foxx, and
good one.
Yeah, basically he was talking about how he started out, and with regards to him working out his sort of comedy.
How Jamie started out, or
how Jamie started out. And basically he went to a comedy night, and where everyone was basically pretty much straight-laced,
the
whole crowd, and like he came out with his like routine, which
Mm.
was how can I say it was a little bit more sort of ghetto, like
Yeah.
raunchy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, he bombed. He died
Mm.
there from that. I was just like, okay. So he started to go, okay. He started to go around different parts of the country, picking up like 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there.
Mm.
If it's funny, if they find this funny in Delaware, maybe I can take it from like that bit from here,
Yeah.
put it into my routine. It's like, so over the course of time, he built up, I think it was either half an hour or an hour where he
Yeah.
go, right, I've got stuff which is funny, should be funny pretty much throughout the whole of the country.
Yeah.
And sort of just like, here's one bit. And like, yeah, it said he took, I can't remember how long it took him, but it said it took him quite a bit of time. And I think basically any comedian which doesn't try to do that, especially like this country might be small and dense population wise, but it is quite sort of different throughout the whole country with comedy.
Yeah, it is completely different. It is completely different because it's just little pockets who have their own little belief systems, their own little, their own little ways of doing things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's just how it is. And it's just about how we can we can try to access them as well, and make them feel included, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't want to be included, and that's their prerogative too.
Well, I think that stems the breaks of comedy, my friend.
Yeah. I almost forgot that Jamie Foxx was a comedian. Before I started as a comedian, because I remember watching him on Def Jam, and he was killer.
Yeah. Like, this is the thing. You got to, like, Jamie Foxx is a man who's
Jamie Flops.
Yeah, that's him on the last day of the month. I'm Jamie Foxx. I bring you this message. It's like, like, this is the thing. He's a man who's blessed with many talents, from comedy, acting, music, and like, look, like he's got his own sort of, how can I say, incubator program for bringing up new talent. So he's one of those people which is like, oh yeah, you are a Renaissance man.
That's right.
And therefore sometimes I wish I could be more of a Renaissance man, but you know what I mean? Who knows what the future might hold.
Have you seen Collateral? Have you seen the movie Collateral?
The new Collateral.
The movie Collateral.
Oh, yes.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. That is honestly one of my favorite films, and that was probably that was probably one of the first times I saw him outside of the Jamie Foxx show.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that kind of solidified him as an actual actor, and not just a comedic actor.
Yeah, but this is the thing. That year when he did Collateral, was his magic year when he did Ray.
He did Ray, didn't he?
Yeah, and like, this is the thing. Look, Collateral, he was like sensational in that. Ray, it was like, oh my Lord. Like,
I've not seen Ray yet. I know it's sacrilege to say, but I've not seen Ray yet.
Like, what I'll simply say to you, like, if you've got time, and like, I know you do over your half term.
Yeah.
I would say, sit down, like, put on Ray, and I would say you will be pleasantly surprised.
I have no doubt that I'll love the movie. It's one of those films that's always been on the list of things to watch, but never got around to doing it. But I will do so. As we're setting up a LinkedIn profile, I will do that as well.
Look, this is what, put it this way. What I would simply say to you is this: get your internet stuff sorted, and when in the time you have, by the time you've done all of that, watch Ray and like appreciate the goodness of that film. And like, basically go, okay, this is what excellence brings to the world. That's what I'm gonna say. And like, I would say, and with regards to yourself, what is in store for your sort of plan to sort of bring that sort of game of excellence to the realm of comedy, podcasting, etc.?
The game of excellence. Well, that is a very, very good question. What I'm looking to, I don't know how much I'm willing to say about it right now. Well, actually, no, for the main podcast, I can say that I'm looking to expand the types of guests I have on it. So whilst talking to comedians is great and understanding how their minds work is fantastic. I do kind of want to go into like more of what you're doing and what Joe Rogan's doing as well, and that have more people from every walks of life on the podcast, which is why I'm trying to branch out at this point as well. I've got something else sort of in the pipeline where I may need a videographer for it as well, video editor for it as well. But that'll be something separate, which is kind of just in the very, very beginning, which is in the very, very beginning stages at the moment. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
But it's still something interview based.
Yeah.
But it's got more, I'm very interested. I'm very excited at the moment. Let's just say that I'm very excited.
Okay, I'm feeling your enthusiasm. So, like, yes, that's the world of podcasting. With regards to like your comedy side of things, like, what do you think you'll be doing in, say, the next 6 months to a year?
6 months, right? I will be properly back on the horse in the next 6 months. Pandemic allowing.
Yeah.
And I'll be gigging more outside of London, which is what I was doing before the pandemic, and just building up to Edinburgh 2022. With whatever that will look like, because I did it with a group of friends of mine in 2019, where we did a full run.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best training and learning experience I've ever had. Like, just 26 nights of just doing the same show over and over again, and that was probably the best learning experience you could ever ask for. So if you're a performer, I definitely recommend if you're new to performing, definitely sign up to Edinburgh Fringe. I mean, it costs an absolute bomb, but the experience that you gain from it is priceless, essentially.
Right. Like, just for anyone who might be listening out there, when you did Edinburgh Fringe 2019, how much did it cost you to sort of get things set up?
Okay, now what we did was because there were 3 of us, right? Yeah. So the actual show itself, it cost about 300 quid to put on the actual show.
Yeah.
And you can make money back. You can make money back from the show, which we did. It was a profitable show for us. However, where you lose a bit, where you're likely to lose a lot of money, is with the renting in Edinburgh, because what they like to do is landlords will magically hike prices up for the month of August. No coincidence whatsoever that there's going to be loads of people coming down for the festival for that month. No coincidence there whatsoever. But that's where you're going to be losing. You're going to lose a bit of money. So what I'd advise people to do is not what I did, and that is try and book accommodation with people that you sort of know you can get along with. And that was what I was supposed to be doing this year, even though I didn't get a show. I was going to be going up to Edinburgh for the whole month and doing spots at other people's gigs whilst growing the podcast and growing the podcast audience. But me and one of the people I did the 2019 show with, we were going to be sharing a flat together for the whole month, because he had a show on his own. Yeah. So that was meant to be the plan. And pandemic happened and put the brakes on that bad boy.
No, I understand. No, we do not live in a bubble when it comes to 2020. And
we don't. No. It affects all of us, man. Like, it's crazy how much this whole situation has just brought the entire world to a standstill, for better or for worse. So for better one, well, no, I don't want to say for better or for worse. It's just insane. But what I will say is that I'm in a semi-privileged position in that I'm in gainful employment. I'm not in any danger of losing my job or not being semi-financially secure anytime soon. And I'm fully aware of that. So what I would say to people out there is, if you do have gainful employment and you're not likely to lose your job, find a couple of comics or performers or entertainers who you do like. See if they've got a Patreon and just put like a couple quid in there every month or so, because they've lost it. They've lost their jobs, and they do need help to start back up.
Yeah, no, I think with regards to 2020 and like global pandemic wise, like one, it has wiped people out and like it's really hurts people. But I would say everyone who has had a plan for 2020 going forward, I think it's put everyone globally back about 12 to 18 months of what they need to do. And it's just one of those things where, okay, if you said this beforehand, like no one would actually think it's possible. Now it's happened. People were still in the midst of it, and it's getting more and more confusing. Like lockdown 2.0, the confusing one.
Oh god, yeah.
Several tiers of this and several tiers of that, and look. If you ask anyone, I would say the majority of people would not know how the tier system works. And look, I've listened to it, and I still don't understand how it works.
No idea. The way I'm going to sit is this: I'm gonna live my life at this point, and I'm gonna live my life until I'm told, you can't do this until I'm forced to go. You can't do this anymore. But until that happens, I'm going to be learning to live with COVID because it's here. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's here. We're not going to get rid of it anytime soon. So we've got to learn how to adapt and how to live with it. And I can see already that people are learning. They are, well, maybe not learning, but they are going back. Sorry, Siri's trying to talk to me. Siri was trying to talk to me at that point. That's mental how that's mental how I didn't even ask it to speak. That's insane. Yeah. All right. We'll let my technology fears come up another time.
No, your Apple overlords are listening to everything you do.
Oh, you know what? They must be really, really bored if that's the case. So what was I saying? Yeah, I think people are really learning to adapt, but understandably, people are getting annoyed and getting frustrated. Like they're seeing there is one rule for them, the people above us, and one rule for us. So I think they're gonna have and rightfully, I think they're gonna have a real struggle locking us down again if they do try to do it.
And well, like this is the thing. I think it's a case of, with regards to the pandemic and the BQV, I think it's a case of people understand it now in one way, where before it was just like this new thing which was destined to maybe like kill several of us in the grand scale. Don't get me wrong, it has killed people, and I sympathize with all the families who have someone from this. But like when you're getting people, and this is some people's attitude, it seems like it's a severe flu, but people can get over it. You kind of like go, I understand what you're saying, but it's not that.
Yeah.
And you're not. And when people see and say that, and they've got that attitude, they are not going to be like, lock us down again, or getting away with this, or do this. No.
And also, what they're not taking into account is, actually, no, shit. They put it. Let me just get my word out again. what's really killing people at the moment is the fear of it. And how in the very very beginning, when all of the mass media was basically putting the fear of God trying to put the fear of God into all of us, that causes more damage and more stress to people. That causes more damage and more stress to people psychologically. And what isn't helping right now is that every single death at the moment that's been recorded, even if it isn't even if they're not COVID, or even from COVID, they're going to still register as a COVID death.
And like, this is a thing, something which has changed over the recent weeks that I've seen is like, it used to be like, as you said, every death, regardless, was registered as a death from COVID. Now, like, they're saying it's a death from COVID within a 48-hour window, if you get what I mean. So like, basically, this is the reason why you saw, if you looked at the beginning, from March, April, that the death rate was up sky high with the infection rate. Now infection rate sky high and the death rates smaller because they're reporting it in a different way.
But also, like, they forget to tell us, we're also in flu season right now.
Well, yeah. It's like, but this way, like, if they didn't see lockdown 2.0 with like flu, which comes around every year, which COVID is very similar to the flu, and then like if someone goes into the hospital with flu next to someone with COVID, what's the likelihood of someone whose immune system's fighting off flu is now going to be joined with this new party bedfellow? So
exactly.
So you're kind of like going, okay, I can give you a blight on when it first started, government, because anyone who goes, oh, you should have been better prepared at the beginning. It's like going, you should be better prepared for an alien invasion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
exactly. Like, we had no idea how to do this, and they don't know how, and they have no idea how to do it.
And like, even if it was like, and if there's another pandemic in the future, it's going to be completely different to where it is right now. So you kind of go, okay. But as time's gone on and you kind of seen how the sort of way it's played out, you kind of like go, yeah, come on, guys. It's like, come on, guys. Look, you should be getting a little bit more together.
And not be taking trips to random castles to test your eyesight. Come on.
Well, let's just say the top people who've been like meant to be in charge and like, hey, no socially mixing, no doing long unnecessary trips and stuff like this. From England to Scotland, I'm sure someone in Wales, they've all been up to it. Don't do this. But why did you go on a family trip with at least 15 different members? And like, don't, and it's just like, you kind of like go, okay.
It's one rule for them, one rule for the rest of us.
Yeah, and like, this is the thing. While it's being played out like that, I think less and less people are going to sort of comply to most things that are going on. And one of the things which I, as a person who loves to attend the gym and stuff like this, when they said, yeah, we're closing gyms, and it was like, going, okay. Like, most people who go to gyms are trying to keep themselves fit, healthy, which you need to kind of do for this particular virus. You're closing one of the main things, but you're letting pubs be open where people sit, drink, not doing anything, and you're like in a much more of an enclosed space. So I'm not sort of down with that. So I'm like, okay.
Well, it's almost like they're looking after the economy more than our health.
Well, there is that, and like, this is the thing. One of the things I have to say the government has to be careful of with regards to the economy, because soon as things start switching like they are, more like recession, people out of work and stuff like this, the economic ramifications become more deadly than the actual virus itself.
Yeah.
So it's like, With that, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of in two minds with that because I
Mm.
understand what you said, the way you said it, and I agree with it, but you kind of like go, what do you do?
Yeah, because when the economy, well, when people lose their jobs and the economy crashes, that's when the mental health issues are going to rise. And when mental health issues rise, that's when the suicide rates rise.
Yeah, but like the whole thing is like mental health, mental health with regards to basically the first stage of the lockdown, that was never addressed. And like basically
No.
a number of people, unfortunately, because they've lost their support systems and structures and everything like that, have
Mm.
to face a new sort of form of reality. And it's like, right, they don't have those supports. So what do? Then, like, sometimes the darkness of their mental health issues overrun them, and it causes them to do like drastic and extreme things in some regards to basically find that escape or release.
Yeah.
And now, sort of the health side of aspects of things have not really been sort of highlighted. And I think globally, it's just been like a case of, yeah, we're going to search out a vaccine, but like, okay, uh,
Like, okay, right.
yeah,
But no one's saying, like, very few people are saying, change your diet and exercise more.
well, yeah, like, and I think sometimes it is a case of, I think people are like some people are not taking their own sort of personal responsibility with regards
No.
to things. I'm not saying this to sit on a high horse or anything like this because look,
That's fine, man. Sit on the high horse. It's all good. No.
no,
Trust me, it's good from up here. It's good. It's good up here.
it's like, no, I get altitude sickness. No, yeah, no, but like this is the thing. Like I don't do things in the most perfect way myself, but I do other things. But it's a case of I think we as a society, sometimes we don't take our own personal responsibilities when it comes to certain things. We expect everyone else to do it,
Mm.
but we don't actually take any action ourselves, which is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We got to take a good look, long, hard look in the mirror, I think, before like we throw out too many sort of judgments. But yeah.
That's it, and that's the hardest. That's the hardest thing to do. And like that's probably the one thing I'm grateful about this pandemic, about this whole situation for,
Mm,
is that I've been able to not be, for the first time in many years, not be busy and actually have some time to actually look and reevaluate myself
mm,
and look and see why I do things and then sort of put some things in place to help myself instead of me just me just making sure that I'm constantly doing something so I don't actually have to reflect and yeah, I feel so much better for that.
yeah. Like, so would you say with regards to comedy and basically what you're doing with yourself at this moment in
Mm.
time, it's more of a road of self-development for you?
I think almost everything that I'm into, almost everything I do at the moment is to do with self development,
Mm,
whether it be elements of what I do in the comedy circuit, or whether it's meditation, or whether it's to do with what I do at work.
yeah.
Um, yeah, a lot of it is to do with either developing myself or helping other people to develop as well.
Mm. And like with that, like, okay, with self development, there are often two ways people look at it.
Yeah,
One is there is a final destination, a final goal, and the other is it's always a thing where you're sort of constantly pushing forward and chasing,
yeah.
growing, and development. Which one do you think it might be for you?
Uh, Second one definitely because I think if there should never be a finite point where you stop developing.
Mm,
There's you should always be willing to, and from my point of view, you should always be willing to learn and grow as a person. Because the only time you should stop doing that is when you're dead. And for some people, and if you believe, and or well, according to some beliefs, even after that, you can still grow and develop as well.
mm,
So even death shouldn't stop you.
mm. So, what would you say, like, sort of tying into the sort of question before when, I went asked you about what you see the next 6 months
Mm.
to a year. will be. What do you reckon what is one of the key sort of development goals you really want to achieve?
Key development goals. I would like to have more of an idea about where and how I want to progress in my day-to-day job. I've got some ideas at the moment, like maybe going to like psychotherapy or psychology. But I'd like to have. I'm going to look to have a more clear idea about that later, well, within the next few months. And to do that, my work has been really good. They're putting me on a lot of career progression career progression training courses. Sorry. So
don't worry, Jamie Flox.
Yeah, Jamie Flox. That's it. Jamie Flox. As many of it, as quite a few of his films will attest to. Yeah, so that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do work-wise. Have a bit more strong fit in that. And I think with the stand-up circuit, I would probably be looking for representation in the next year or so to get me into the clubs properly. But yeah, that's kind of how progression looks for me at the moment.
I'm liking it a lot.
And whilst also doing all the psychological work that comes with that as well. So potentially therapy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Great. Perfect. It makes me smile to see someone with a plan.
Yeah. Well, if you're just coasting, like, I mean, I understand why people do it because it's a lot easier to do. But for me, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like, I need to have a bit of a structure in my life. Otherwise, things just fall by the wayside. And there was a point in my life where things did just fall by the wayside. But with some help, I'm now beginning to pick the pieces back up again.
No, I understand. And like, this is the thing, like when you say coasting, I think of it as more of a drift. Like basically, like when you're not sort of paying attention, like, and if you're out in the sea and stuff like this, and you're a little dinghy, like soon as you sort of like drift for, like, you'll let your mind or your focus take you away for about 10 minutes. Before you know it, you're a long way from shore. And like,
yeah, that's it, man. Well, the thing is, you're a long way from shore, and what you need to do then is row with your hands back. But a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They want to wait for maybe the Coast Guard or whatever else to come and get it for them. But it's about what you said. A lot of people are having a lack of responsibility, not always up for taking responsibility for themselves.
Like, okay, no, I'm getting definitely more of an idea of who you are and what.
Okay.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's a case of with regards to you, self-development, comedy, like doing stuff which will make you kind of uncomfortable and being fearless with regards to that. Well, fearless is not right because everyone has that sort of fear and like.
Oh, of course. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Every time before I go up in front of an audience, I get nerves.
Yeah.
Always. But I think that's because I care about it and I want to do well. I think the day where I stop getting nerves, that I won't have cared about it as
much. No, I hear you. And like, basically putting yourself into those places of comfort to help your growth, help your development, and taking you forward. That's the sort of impression I get from you. I could be 100% wrong. You're back on.
Right.
But hey, that's a good thing, because look, the amount of people who don't want to do that in this world, it's a lot. And basically, these are the people who don't sometimes find out who they truly are. And look, trust me, it takes a long time to find out who you truly are. And there's people.
I know that. I know that very well.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things. But I'm liking it. You've got the drive and focus and ambition, I think, to get far in this comedy world. if not
Yeah.
comedy, something else. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. It is one of those things where you do need a lot of drive. You do need drive because no one's going to come and select you out of the 500, the 1,000 or so stand-up comedians that are in London. No one is going to come to an open mic gig and just pluck you out of obscurity. You need to be the one to address people, and that's what I'm sort of beginning. That's what I'm sort of beginning to do now.
I hear you. I'm liking that. Great. Now, may I ask? Okay, what are some of the best stand-up shows you've seen?
And I've seen. Are we talking live, or are we talking on or
Like
DVDs or what?
live, DVD,
Okay.
stream.
Okay. So when I was 11 or 12 years old, my parents got me the Richard Pryor box set. So I was live on the Sunset Strip, and I can't remember what the other one's called, but 12-year-old me was into, that was a very, very, very insane watch, because I didn't really, even though I found it funny, because 12-year-olds find swearing funny.
Yeah.
I didn't quite really quite process, who he was as a person. But now looking back at those two shows, those two DVDs that I still got today, I literally just when I was rummaging around my room yesterday, I found the box set. Looking back on them now, I can literally understand. I can really understand where he's coming from. So I think those two are very, very prolific those two shows are very prolific in my life. I'd say Chris Rock, Kill the Messenger, because that's the first stand-up show that I actually went to go see live in 2008 with my dad.
Nice.
And my brother. So I was 16 years old, and we went to Hammersmith Apollo, and that was insane because he had Earthquake, who's an American comic, open for him as well, and that was just a really great experience. And I got to go see him again 10 years later when he came to the O2 Arena for the second time he came to London, and that was again phenomenal. So those three shows were great. I'd probably also shout out what's his name? Oh my God, Philip Simon. Who he's not someone who's particularly well known on outside of the UK circuit and on the UK pub circuit, but he did an Edinburgh show in 2019 called something called Not Daddy Pig, because he used to play Peppa Pig's dad in the stage show.
Yeah.
But it was just a really, really great, phenomenal masterclass in performance, and I really, really enjoyed that. I'm just trying to, and the other shows I've seen, Ramesh Ranganathan, he was great when I went to see him this year as well. Other shows that probably had an impact on me would be Russell Brand's Doing Life Live, because that was the show that I watched, the special that I watched when I was about 17 years old. And I just realized, he's just talking to an audience. That is literally what he's doing. He's literally having a conversation with himself, but to an audience, and he's literally just talking. I mean, it's obviously more than that. Obviously, now I know more goes into it than that. Yeah. But that was like, okay, this is something that is maybe not necessarily attainable, but it's just an amazing thing to do. And now I know that it takes a lot of work to get into that, to be that conversational.
Yeah.
But watching it was phenomenal. And also, I think, lastly, John Bishop winging it on his which I took my dad to see at the O2 in 2017. Again, very conversational and really just a masterclass. That's what I'm saying, masterclass.
Perfect. I'm liking that. I liking that. There'll be a couple I will review myself. But yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Like yeah, like when it comes to me, like my sort of first major stand-up I've saw was Eddie Murphy, Delirious.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
man, is
yeah.
that the one where he's wearing the
The
red
red dude.
jacket? Or...
Yeah, basically like with my age, like Delirious was on VHS tape, and it was one
Nice,
of those
good,
things.
good.
It was like yeah, passed around. Like my friend Steve had a copy. He was like, yes.
Did your mom know you watched it, or
Oh
or did you have to pretend it was something else?
no, no, I couldn't have that in the house. That's like my mother's a God fearing woman. No,
Okay.
it's like, yeah.
God bless her. God love her.
Oh yeah, but like Delirious, Raw, and like yeah, Robin Williams at the Carnegie Hall. It was like yeah,
Yeah,
and like yeah, all I got to say is yeah, powerful comedy, powerful comedy.
yeah, very, very. Like, people forget how good Robin Williams really was, man. Like, just
Oh yeah,
phenomenal, phenomenal. Like, but the thing of Robin Williams that I've learned over the years, so I'm kind of reading. I'm not kind of reading. I am reading a book called Untitled Chapter, which is a biography of the Comedy Store in the 1970s.
mm.
And the way that Robin Williams' mind would work, because he was so rapid fire and he'd say the first thing that come into his head, he would sometimes accidentally, in inverted commas, steal other comedians' material or use other comedians' material on stage or in his TV show Mork and Mindy, because that'll be the first thing that comes to his head. So he would be paying other comedians very, very once he realized it was their stuff, he'd be paying them a couple of grand, just be like, okay, sorry, I've used this, and here's some recognition.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. No, that guy, like if you think you have punchlines lined up, no. Just
Have
well,
you seen? Have you seen or heard the special Weapons of Self-Destruction?
no, I have not.
2000. It was 2008. Really, yeah, I definitely say watch this. It's one of the last ones he did before he passed away. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I will get on that. Look, see, I'm gonna have to listen to this back. Like,
Yeah. It's on Spotify, so go for it. It's on Spotify, so give it a listen.
Sweet, outstanding, loving it. Now, I have to like bring on because I'm a being of supreme cosmic power.
Go for it.
Yeah, I can grant you one wish. What would that wish be?
I'm gonna be really cheesy and say peace on earth.
No. No, you can't have peace on earth.
Oh.
No, because that unfortunately comes under the cop out wish selection, and I don't have that.
So peace. Okay, so I can't do peace on earth.
No.
I'd probably say my one wish would be for everyone to become more understanding of each other.
Okay.
Which may or may not lead to peace on earth.
Yep.
But it's the stepping stones in the right direction.
Brilliant. I like that. I'll get working on that for you right away.
Nice, thank you.
No problem.
I look forward to all the world leaders calming themselves down, within the next hour or so.
Well, what can I say? Well, it takes a little bit longer than that. I've got 97 wishes to all process through.
97 wishes. I've got faith in you, man. I've got faith in you.
Yeah, but I am of supreme cosmic power. So what can I say? Except itty-bitty little spaces. But yeah, can you tell the lovely people out there how they can find you?
Okay, so on Twitter, I'm at Kyle Woolf Comedy. So it's Kyle, and Wolf is WOOLF Comedy, all one word. Kyle Woolf Comedy on Instagram, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, my podcast is called The One Where, and it's where I interview comedians and entertainers and some more interesting people and some very interesting people. That's on anywhere you can find podcasts, and that's about to go into its second season in the next month or so. So catch up on that. There's about 100 or so episodes, so at least one of them you will like.
Yes, there's 104 episodes.
Yes, there is. Yes.
See, far I am. Yes, excellent. What I will do, I'll put all of that into the show notes, the description, and yes, please, yes, go
Thank
out
you.
there, get in contact with him, and Carl, let me just
Thank you so much for having me, man.
thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and great time.
Thank you very much, man. All right. See you later. Bye.
Guys, let me say this to you, my friends, my life warriors who are watching right now. Still, thank you very much for your time today. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic, be all the positive bees you can be in this world, and then some. Anyway, have a good day. Peace. And we are.